Hey! Welcome back to Dark Souls 3, anybody, everybody, but probably nobody. This is ThorW, and we are continuing our journey here through the Undead Settlement. The last one, we found the Mound Maker's Covenant, and we found the last vestiges of Loretta, Grey Rat's friend, who he wanted us to find, and unfortunately she did not make it, and is a little bit dead. She was kind of tied up. One of those corpses that was tied up in the area. Unfortunate for her. Unfortunate for Grey Rat as well. His friend is now doomed and dead. Anyway, in this episode we're going to continue working our way through the Undead Settlement. We're kind of just back through the beginning area right now. We have to go through here for the time being, but it's no big deal. Now, as you recall, there were two directions off of this bridge. I'd like to exhaust that last direction before we continue in any other area. I had no stamina. Who knew? I guess anyone that was paying attention more than me. There was a farmer, had a dog, and Dedo was his name. Oh. Perhaps this guy will be kind enough to give me his flamberge. I'd like your flamberge, sir. Sir? Sir? Mr. Mr. Thrall doesn't want to help. So, pay attention over here. There are 3 jerk bags up there. And if you look closely, they're all wearing red, which means they throw firebombs. They are incredibly annoying because of this, because they are high on their perch. Well, we're going to want to get to them, which means I'm going to fall down here and take care of him. He has a friend back here, so be careful, and Firebomb Guy can hit you. Titanite Shard behind us, so be sure to grab that. Now we can enter this building. This is actually the only entrance to the building, surprisingly. And we get a bonfire. How nice, how lovely. How very lovely. How very nice for us. And this is the story of a girl... Oh, get that out of my head, please. This is the rooftops where those firebomb enemies are, well, being annoying. So we're just gonna stab them, thrust deep within their faces. And come over here, grab this hand axe, and...
Aha! Unkindled, are we? Welcome to my abode.
Hello!
I am Cornyx, an old pyromancer. A crow in his cage, as you see now. But here we are. An encounter for the ages.
Yes, quite. Nice to meet you, Cornyx.
I hear the unkindled make for fine vessels. Care to learn some pyromancies from this old man?
Why, yes, I would.
Most wise. A chance encounter should not be squandered. To reiterate, I am Cornyx of the Great Swamp. The pleasure is mine.
So that is, well, Cornyx of the Great Swamp. He is our first pyromancer to find in the entire game, whether friend or foe. And Cornyx is a rather kind gentleman, so we're going to go back and go speak with him. Travel back to Firelink Shrine. Let's go talk with Cornyx. Now that means we'll have to kill those firebomb guys again, but that's no problem. You saw it didn't take too long. One thrust from our sword takes them down, so whatever. Now then, let's go talk with Cornyx. Cornyx resides right down here to the right of Andre.
Ah, there you are, unkindled one. I wish to express my gratitude for trusting a lowly pyromancer and allowing me to gaze upon this majestic flame. As promised, I will impart pyromancies to you. But first, you'll need a flame of your own.
And he gives us a pyromancy flame to work with.
Don't burn yourself with it.
So, Cornix of the Great Swamp. Let's
To
talk.
learn pyromancies, you must vow to become my pupil. I know, but such is the way of the world. Respect your elders and so on.
Senpai!
Pyromancy, of course, is no exception.
Respect your senpai.
Oh, we'll need a pyromancy tome to learn more advanced pyromancies. Though unorthodox, that would be the most expedient way to make progress. If this were the Great Swamp and you had the luxury of time, we could have trained you the hard way.
Well, if anything, time is a luxury we kind of have since I'm essentially immortal. Although the flame is dying down rapidly, so there is that.
To learn I know and...
So, this is our great Pyromancer Senpai, Cornix of the Great Swamp. If we want to, we can purchase the Pyromancer set. But, I don't want to purchase it right now, but let's at least take a look at the lore. Attire of Pyromancers of the Great Swamp comprised of a leather crown and animal bones. In the Great Swamp, it was thought that adorning oneself with natural fauna would provide protection from the flames of pyromancy. Attire composed of bronze ornamental and animal pelt. In the Great Swamp, bronze was used ritualistically to ward off evil spirits and keep darkness at bay. Just leather. And finally, attire cloth trousers wound tightly with leather and fitted with dermis split toes. The life of a pyromancer is a life of endless trudging through marshlands, which kind of makes sense for this outfit. So, uniquely, every single piece of this pyromancer set has a different little bit of information / lore to it. We learned that pyromancers of the Great Swamp find that fauna is kind of sacred in a way to them, and assists in protecting them from burning themselves with their great flame. Pretty cool. So we can learn pyromancies. He starts with Fireball, Fire Surge, Great Combustion, and Flash Sweat. Very elementary. You learn you hurl a fireball with this one. Emits a constant stream of fire. Cornix is a venerable pyromancer of an older mold, said to have restored a number of spells lost to the past, amongst which this is the most well-known. So we find out through a little bit of that lore, Cornix is actually pretty well-known as a pyromancer, for anyone that knows pyromancers. Great Combustion gives you a big flame in hand. This is melee range. You basically punch someone with fire. Very powerful yet simple. Pyromancy is to at once know fear and longing, the resultant power of which depends on both the caster's intelligence and faith. So if you take a look at attribute requirements, this guy is 10 int and 10 faith in order to use. And Flash Sweat increases fire damage absorption with intense sweating, an influential pyromancy that internalizes the flame, likely forming the foundation for many subsequent spells. So very cool set. We're going to go ahead and buy Fireball and have that available to us. You'll notice that it takes 6 int and 6 faith. Pyromancy in Dark Souls 3.
Do not be gone for long.
After we let him speak.
What is a teacher without a pupil?
Good point. So Pyromancy in Dark Souls 3 is different from Pyromancy in previous iterations. I'm going to once again talk about Dark Souls 1 because that's the one I know best. In Dark Souls 3, you'll notice that it has int and faith on it. In Dark Souls 1, it had no scaling whatsoever. It was pretty much a neutral thing that you could cast no matter what, because everyone has the flame of the soul. Every human has a bit of the flame inside of themselves, and pyromancy is the art of manipulating that flame, the flame of the soul, and using it to cast spells. Well, in Dark Souls 3, they realized, hey, it's a little bit OP to have absolutely no requirements for any of these more powerful spells, so we'll give them a little bit of scaling. That's the main reason. I don't really think there's a lore reason. Now then, the pyromancy flame weighs nothing, which is nice. Let's take a look at it. A flame catalyst used by pyromancers. That's it. Skill Combustion, create a powerful flame in the wielder's hand, one of the most basic pyromancies, and for this very reason, the flame created its force, works while equipped in either hand. So that is a basic pyromancy skill, a spell, that is now available just for free, is Combustion. For example, let's take a look at it. Very simple. You just punch a little bit of flame out in front of yourself. So, I believe I have to actually attune the spells. Anyway. If you recall, we do have an Estus shard to give to Andre. Or 2, actually. Wow, look at that. 2 Estus shards. Very nice. And with that, we have talked with Cornyx of the Great Swamp. And we now have Pyromancy available to us, and we will attune Fireball, so that we will have that, well, available to us again, yeah. And we're going to do something real quick. We're going to travel out, and then we're going to return to Firelink Shrine right afterwards, for reasons. Important reasons. Very important reasons. Look, don't question it. Don't question it. You'll know in a second why. So, Cornyx of the Great Swamp is kind of interesting. He's a pretty cool pyromancer. He's a rather nice, upstanding fella. He's a real nice guy. Anyway, I wanted to return here because the reason I said to buy anything from Grey Rat is if we go talk to him.
Heavens, she was already dead.
We get the curl up.
Heavens.
Emote. And Grey Rat will now stay like that for a little bit, and he is going to grieve Loretta and her death. Which is a very nice touch for an NPC. It gives a lot of character to Grey Rat, and it's one of the reasons why I like Grey Rat. Grey Rat has a lot of character to him. He's one of the most human NPCs in the game. He has emotions. He has motivations and everything. His original motivation to do anything was, hey, I wanted you to go find out, is my friend okay? Or perhaps sister, mother, whatever Loretta was to him. He merely wanted to know whether or not she was safe or alive, at the very least. And if so, to give her the blue Tearstone ring, which saves lives most of the time. It prevents a lot of damage when you're low on health. So we got the worker garb worn by inhabitants of the Undead Settlement. Official attire for the dissection and burial of undead. Naturally, the ceremonial significance of such work is long forgotten. Indeed, no one could continue to entertain such horrors. Yes, it is the official dissection equipment. Dissection of the undead equipment. How lovely. So we're going to drop down here now, and that should activate this person, this jolly fellow, to come on over here. Come on over, Rover. I got nothing for you except firebombs. Boom, son! Oh, I love killing you in special ways because you're an annoying enemy. We'll fight an enemy like that later. So over here you can find undead, once again being strewn up. These guys have been straight up just tied to poles and left to rot. This guy's tied to a wheel and left to rot, which is a bad idea. That's how you get wheel skeletons, people. Come on now. You don't want wheel skeletons, do you? That's terrible. So we can come down here and we find this poor lonely fella. Hey, dude. Hey, man. How you doing? You look like you're having a rough time. Get rid of the bow. Look, we'll have a sit down with you. It's gonna be okay, buddy. It's gonna be just fine, you know? Buck up, champ. And we get a fire clutch ring. Which, actually a ring we're gonna equip. Increased fire attack, but compromises damage absorption. Ring depicting a hand grasping a red stone, increasing fire attack. An old fable in Londor claims that the lure of the clutch ring reaches out to the crestfallen, who might otherwise be overcome by despair. And you can see it's depicting basically a demonic hand clawed out and grabbing a red ruby stone, a ruby red stone. What this does is increases fire damage, which helps us considering we have a fire infusion on our weapon. So let's see, where am I in conjunction to the rest of the world? I'm trying to get my bearings here. Oh, I know where I am now. Okay. Nothing down here. Now then, before we're going to go over there next, but before we do... Well, Poochie's in the way. Excuse me, Poochie. I'm going to come down here into this little sewer channel. There's rats down here. FromSoft sure does love their giant rats. They're rodents of unusual size. Yep, I mean, those are kind of big, but whatever. ROUSs, I do not believe they exist. Oh, wait. Oh, you can see them through the fog. I'm sorry, your fog trick didn't work. So, rats are always annoying because they always come in groups. And, you know, they can kind of stun lock you a little bit if your poise isn't too high. So there's the blood bite ring. Let's take a looky-loo at that for killing the giant rat. One of the bite rings native to Kareem increases bleed resistance. The crafting of these rings is forbidden, perhaps owing to a fear of malleable stone. Clerics, however, dabble freely in the art. So yeah, basically what that says is clerics are jerks who think that they're better than everyone else and thus do whatever the hell they want. So we came through the sewers so that we could open up this door and come right over Mia and activate a bonfire. Now this is another area of the game that of the Undead Settlement we'll be touching on relatively shortly. In the meantime, we got business in the other direction. We got business all over the place. There's so much to do in the Undead Settlement. It's such a massive area with lots of... There's NPCs to meet, as you could see. There's little side quests to do. There's bunches of items to pick up. And, like, so many different directions that you can go down. So, there's an ember here. There's a jerk bag there. There's 2 jerk bags back there that are going to be very mad at us the second that we try to cross this bridge. As you can see... Hey, come on over here. Yeah, you come over here. So yeah, he'll run all the way to you there. We don't want to get hit by that. It hurts a little bit. Oh, so these guys are insanely annoying. They cause bleed buildup. They attack like crazy. 3, 4 big attacks. Let's count their attacks once they start fighting. They super armor when you hit them. So there's 1, 2, 3, just 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Jeez Louise, these guys are ridiculous. These are some bloodborne ass enemies if you take a look at their appearance too. So yeah, you can get a couple hits in before they turn around like that and super armor through your attacks. I hate enemies that super armor through your attacks. They are just not cool. Large salvage deserted corpse, but if we go back here, there's a little bit more. There's puppy dogs. Hello. Once again, we get one dog that's all skin, all bones, and then one dog that's kind of in the process of decaying. 3 more alluring skulls. These dogs love their alluring skulls. They are always just around them. Go ahead and drink a little bit. Now we see another one of these guys over here. Now then, let's give him a trip. Never mind, we didn't kick like I wanted to. Well, that kick won't work now. I wanted to kick him off the edge because it's fun, but... oh well, didn't quite work out the way I wanted to. Once again, the visage of just hollows being impaled and strung up and left out to dry and die. Hello, friend.
Another one of those unkindled, are you? All you faceless undead, behaving as if you deserve respect. No matter. Heed my words. If you've any sense, you'll go find a coffin to huddle up inside.
Well, you're
here,
nice.
In this land of hollows. You're like a frail maiden on the front lines. If, like the others, you're fool enough to play the champion, then go on ahead. Traipse right past the abandoned church. You'll face death. And it won't be pretty. Enough death to leave you broken. Time after time.
I don't agree with you, sir.
Yeah. If, like the others, you'll then go on. Hopeless. The whole lot of you. Like little moths flittering towards a flame.
That's a very apt metaphor. Or, I guess that would be a simile since he used like.
If, like the others, you'll then go on.
Like little moths flittering towards a flame. Considering we are seeking, in a sense, the first flame, or at least to link the fire, for the most part. That's a very apt simile. So we can come over here, but this does not open from the side, and you can see there is someone over on the other side of it.
You like poking around in cells, do you?
Sure do.
How very genteel.
Good use of the word genteel.
Which is a lost cause.
Whoops.
Couldn't even become a firekeeper.
Hold on, maybe we can reset that dialogue.
Taking an interest in her, have you?
Yes, I did.
Which is a lost cause. Couldn't even become a firekeeper.
Really now?
After I brought her all this way and got her all ready. She's beyond repair, I tell you. The woman's a lost cause. Couldn't even become a firekeeper. She's beyond repair, I tell you. The woman's a good...
So, we see that this guy was escorting this person, her, down there, after we kind of poked around the cell, and kind of gave up on doing so. Apparently she was meant to become a firekeeper, but didn't quite do so. And we see his attitude towards pretty much everything is relatively negative. He's kind of a jerk, and has a very large warhammer and a pretty damn cool gargoyle head helmet, which is nice. But he told us that we couldn't make it, so we're going to prove him wrong. We're going to prove him very wrong. Anyone wondering his name, that is Aegon, by the way. Well now. Alright everyone, gird your loins. Prepare yourselves. Well, hello, Onion Bro.
Oh. Pardon me, I was absorbed in thought. I am Siegwart of Katarina. To be honest, I'm in a bit of a pickle. Have you ever walked near a white birch only to be struck by a great arrow?
No.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, they come from this tower. Whoever it is, I'm sure I can talk some sense into them. But I have to find a way up, and that's just the trouble. This lift only goes down, you see, and... Well, that doesn't get me anywhere. This lift, with a...
Whoops, he actually says new dialogue.
This lift only goes down. But you know, with a little warming up, eventually... No. I've got to use my head and think.
So, for anyone that's played Dark Souls 1, you know this character. This is Siegmeyer, or in this game he is called Siegward, of an Onion Knight of Katarina. And, well, in a way, I like his character being here, and I don't like his character being here. I'm a little upset that they pretty much just recycled the same concept. But anyway, Siegmeyer / Siegward is a flawed person, and that is his main character appeal, that he is a flawed human being. He spends more time thinking about how to solve problems as opposed to acting on how to do so. For example, he could not figure out how to work this lift properly because it only goes down, whereas the truth of the matter is this lift is twofold. They have this lift, which goes down, and then once this one goes down, there's another lift on top that will take you up. But he kept thinking instead of trying anything different. Now then, over here we find an item, and, well, that guy. That thing. As you can see, he's pretty quick on his feet. And has a build-up bar when he hits us, even if we block. So it's best to dodge more than anything. Oh. Anyway, that build-up bar is a frostbite. And we get an Irithyll straight sword for killing that thing, that creature. Let's go ahead and take a look at that particular weapon, shall we? The Irithyll straight sword. Straight sword bestowed upon the Outrider Knights of the Boreal Valley. This weapon is enshrouded in frost and causes frostbite, as we felt. Every Outrider Knight one day devolves into a beast, constantly hounded by Pontiff Sullivan's black eyes. So that gives us a little bit of information about the Boreal Valley. If you recall, Vort was the Hound of the Boreal Valley, our second boss of the game. And apparently every knight from the Boreal Valley eventually devolves into some sort of beast. We can take this. It takes just strength and dex to use. If we take a look, it looks very pretty. Very simple moveset. It has the straight sword moveset, which is pretty, it's pretty good. I like the straight sword moveset. That's why we've been using a straight sword for so long. And it has a basic stance and everything like that. Now then, we can open up these big old double doors. And we make progress and find ourselves on the road of sacrifices at a bonfire. However, for the time being, we don't necessarily want to be heading through the road of sacrifices. If you recall, there are plenty of different... There is an entire direction we haven't headed to from the Undead Settlement bonfire. So, I'm going to hit Firelink Shrine, probably going to level up real quick, and then we're going to head down that pathway that we haven't used yet. But of course, these things...
Very well, then taken.
These things that we shall do shall be done a bit in the future. That's right, we'll get one in that, just to get a little bit even across the board.
Well, I should...
A few more levels so that we're stronger, and we're going to go talk to Andre real quick, because I'm sure we can get some more reinforcement up.
Just what neat.
So let's go ahead. We cannot reinforce our fire longsword, as it would take 3 Titanite shards, and we only have 2. However, I do want to use the Uchigatana a little bit, so let's reinforce that +1.
Pretty be careful.
Because, like I said before, we're going to be looking at a few new weapons. Now then, we will head down that opposite path that we haven't headed down yet in the Undead Settlement on the next episode. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as the last few. And if you haven't enjoyed them at all, well, I'm sorry I'm not entertaining. I'm going to just cry a little bit. And we will be working on finishing up the Undead Settlement. We have just a few more things to do before we're done in. Yes, a few more things, yeah. This place is big. So, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!